Good afternoon, everybody. We'll be getting this emergency meeting of the Housing Stability Council going shortly. We've got some folks in the waiting room, so we want to give them an opportunity to join us, and then we'll work our way through this single agenda item. Okay, right now it is April 13th, 2023, about 2:34 p.m. And I would like to convene an emergency meeting of the Oregon Housing Stability Council. And an emergency meeting is a type of special meeting called on less than 24 hours notice. The governing body must be able to point to some reason why the meeting could not be delayed to allow at least 24 hours notice. An actual emergency must exist, and the minutes of the meeting must describe the emergency justifying less than 24 hours notice. Such notice as is appropriate to the circumstances must be given for emergency meetings. The governing body must attempt to contact the media and other interested persons to inform them of the meeting. And we have done that, and as this agenda item unfolds, I think we'll be getting on the record the reason for the urgency and the necessity of this meeting. And we are ready to begin with the one agenda item from the Affordable Rental Housing Development, Glisan Family Project funding update, and is our Affordable Rental Housing Division Director, Natasha. Are you going to introduce this issue, set it up for us?
Excuse me, Chair Hall, we do need to take roll call of the council.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Let's get the roll call done.
Thank you. Councilmember DeFantorum.
Present.
Councilmember Farrell.
Present.
Chair Hall.
Present.
For the record, Councilmember Lee is out on vacation, will not be attending this meeting. Councilmember Mena.
Here.
Councilmember Rogers.
Present.
Councilmember Sandoval.
Here.
Thank you. We do have quorum today, Chair Hall.
Okay. Are we ready now for the presentation?
Yes, I can. So for the record, Ty Dunson Strain, production manager, here that I can start the presentation. I do have a PowerPoint that slide wise I can just bring up. If that's there it is.
I think I got it, Ty. Thank you. And so yes, appreciate Housing Council gathering for this as reflected in the materials. This is an emergency meeting in order to address financing change in order to make sure that we can continue to this project on schedule and on budget as previously adopted and accepted by Housing Stability Council. Ty, go ahead.
Yeah. So just for a little more at the February meeting, the council approved this project with a lift award and 4% in private activity bonds. But since the approval in February, we have received guidance that to propose updates to the lift regulatory agreement for Article 11Q bonds, and those updates currently do not meet the lenders and investors underwritings, so they have halted their commitments to fund this project. And although we're in the conversations are active and ongoing, OHCS expresses wants in the interest of with all the cost escalations in the market, and we want to keep this project on track to make sure that this project proceeds on schedule to closing. So we are proposing that the GHAP funds be essentially put as a replacement to the lift funds, so that the project with lender could meet the lender and investor approvals and close on time. All of the other affordable rental housing metrics and approvals regarding our equity and racial justice and statewide housing plan priorities are still remaining intact. We are just asking to seek approval for the replacement from lift funds to GHAP funds in a GHAP loan. And with that, any questions?
Council members?
I have one question. Pardon me. If I may.
Yes, certainly.
Thank you, Chair Hall. My question was on affordability. I noticed in the motion, it's a 30-year affordability period, but then in the table, I think it's like page 4, it says it's a 99-year affordability period. I was just curious which it was.
So it's the GHAP loan will be a 30-year affordability, and then the Metro bonds, the PHB has additional affordability covenants covering the whole project that remains on the property for 99 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and we were wanting to ensure that the GHAP loan had the same terms as the initial lift investment, and that is was set already at 30 years, so have retained those original structures.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Maniac?
Thank you, Chair Hall. I have a broader question. I completely understand and the urgency on this funding based on the changes on the documentation of the bonds. So the question is, there are other projects that are coming down the line that will have the same type of situation. How close are we to finding a solution? And also, what does that pipeline look like for the rest of the year? Because that's something that I haven't seen in quite a while. And I know that it's a fluid pipeline because of things that happen, but if you can let me know those two things, that'd be great.
Yeah, and Director Bell, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Apologies for the interruption, Natasha. Councilmember Mena, I appreciate your question, and I think this gets to just broader visibility, and perhaps I can take maybe just half a step back a bit, both for council members, but also for any members of the public as well. So going back to last Friday's meeting, we heard and you received feedback, and I think perspective, really important perspective from our partners. We've been working to really find a pathway forward as it relates to new advisement from the Department of Justice on the structuring of Article 11Q bond legal documents. Since that time, we have been the team has been actively working with the Department of Justice, and then candidly having a number of conversations with partners to have a pathway forward that is viable, and not viable by just our own standards, but that is also viable for our lenders, but then also all of our partners that are critical, quite frankly, to our shared goal of production of affordable housing. In this very moment, Councilmember Mena, we have one project, which is Glisan Family Apartments that we're bringing forth in front of you today, that fall in this really sort of unique instance in which we cannot move forward unless we can make this swap into GHAP funds. While I will let Natasha speak to sort of impact to our pipeline so that the council has broader visibility in terms of what assessment that means to our pipeline and whether there's, I think probably to your broader question, which is, will we be seeing more of this? Because quite frankly, if we were to, we would not have resources to do what we are doing right now. What I will say in terms of status of where we find ourselves is we are still actively working through this with DOJ. We will have a number of forthcoming conversations with lenders and partners early next week. At this very moment in time, we believe that we have a viable pathway forward, and we will know more in the next 24 hours or so, Councilmember Mena. So what I would expect is by the end of this week, certainly by early next week, we will have a more objective and clearer picture of what that pathway forward is and whether it is actually viable for our partners. I think candidly, what we know for sure is that the goals that we have, the goals of our partners, we cannot afford to have any barriers that slow down or manifest as any issues to production of affordable housing. Not in this moment, we cannot have that. And so we are hopeful, and I think we will know more about whether our hopefulness or optimism is misplaced in this moment, but I think things will be crystallized in the next 24 to 48 hours. So I'll yield back and maybe have Director Datweiler-Davy opine on some additional details, or if I've misarticulated anything, let me know.
You have not. I think that's exactly right. We are, I am, by the end of today, we'll be working, I'm working to confirm a time to set up a follow-up conversation with a group of lenders that we've been engaging with on this next week, to be able to actually share updated draft documents with them and be able to walk through it after we have additional review of the updated documents that Director Bell has discussed. So I think in that vein, we are right now driving as fast and as responsibly as possible toward resolving the outstanding concerns by the end of this month, so that we have updated documents. We will likely need an administrative rule change to align with those updated documents, so we'll be able to bring those to the May Housing Stability Council meeting. And then, based on that final iteration, financing teams will have the updates, and we will be able to move forward with those closings as anticipated in May. This is the one project that we have closing in April. And there are several lined up for May closings and then June as well. And so I think, again, time is of the essence to get this specific project over the finish line by changing resources. And candidly, we don't have other resources to choose from for the balance of projects. So we're emphasizing and being very clear and explicit that we need to have a clear path toward ensuring that we can continue to invest Q bonds into the Article 11 Q bonds, which fund the LIFT program and our permanent supportive housing development resources within the month. And teams are working nearly round to the clock to try to make sure that that happens. And I also am fully aware that what we really need is this another layer of lender input on the revisions that are being incorporated in order to address the needs that they've relayed to us over the last week and a half. So I think I am maintaining optimism. I think, again, we are in alignment about the need to have this resource in use and viable in community, and really hopeful, and I think expecting that we will be able to have that path charted out for all of the May closings.
Just to quick follow up, would there be any way that we could get an updated pipeline? I understand it's a fluid pipeline, but for that, at least for the rest of the year?
Certainly. I know staff were actually preparing that to be posted to the website either today or tomorrow. As soon as that is done, I will also just send a direct link to Housing Stability Council, but it will be posted on our website. There is an earlier version, but we need the updated version to you, as we do see where projects are meeting readiness requirements and where things are do kind of use that fluid slip.
Thank you. And I would say the main reason for it is, as you mentioned, is looking at at the macro level and seeing, okay, yes, but definitely we don't want to stop this closing in April, but what's happening later on, and should we have a broader conversation about this rather than proceeding with this request? But I greatly appreciate that. Thank you.
Further questions, comments, discussion from the council? Hearing none, would somebody like to make the motion that's on page 1 of 3 of our memorandum regarding this program and the GHAP loan award recommendation?
So move.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
I'll second.
And thanks. And could we have a roll call now, please?
Thank you, Chair Hall. Councilmember DeFontorum,
Yes.
Councilmember Farrell,
Yes.
Chair Hall,
Yes.
Councilmember Mena,
Yes.
Councilmember Rogers,
Yes.
Councilmember Sandoval.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay, is there any other business for the good of the order at this time?
Not at this moment. As committed to, we will certainly keep the council apprised of this very topic as it is set to evolve over the coming days ahead, and just much appreciation for convening in such a short hour to make sure that this project can move forward. We appreciate it, and certainly I know our partners appreciate it.
Hey, thanks so much. And with that, I'll declare this emergency meeting of the Housing Stability Council adjourned.